The new month with our culture correspondent Park Kun-woo. Welcome, Kun-woo.
Welcome, Kun-woo.
Hi guys, and happy new start of the month, I guess. I am Park Kun-woo, culture correspondent at Arirang, and I've got some interesting news just for you as well today, so please stay tuned.
Kun-woo, and it was a great month of November for you as well because you just came back from the Nuri rocket launch site in the southwestern part of the country, and you probably have lots to tell us about it.
Yes, from this to that, and so much to tell you guys. Especially I was down in Goheung-gun County in Jeollanam-do Province covering the launch for the past, but during last week for 3 days. And then it was truly incredible to witness the rocket launch myself. It was like phenomenal and overwhelming moments. With South Korea's domestically developed Nuri rocket successfully lifting off last Thursday, the satellites on board are now carrying out their missions in orbit. But before we get into the details, let's first take a look at how hard those satellites are working. Even after Nuri lifted off into space on Thursday, stable communication continues to be made with ground stations. Following its initial contact with the King Sejong Station in Antarctica that day, the main satellite has since engaged in continuous two-way communication with Earth. The satellite is set to orbit the planet 15 times a day, observing auroras and air glow to study space weather. It's also equipped with a biocabinet to test 3D bioprinting in space to eventually print human organs. 12 sub-satellites deployed are also in steady contact with ground stations as they are on missions including testing on anti-cancer proteins and space debris disposal technologies. While the fourth Nuri launch is assessed as a success, especially marking the first private-led manufactured mission by Hanwha Aerospace, more Nuri projects are coming.
After the fourth launch's success, we are carrying out a series of follow-up and data analysis procedures. We also began full-scale preparations for the fifth launch starting Friday, work that had been briefly paused during this latest mission.
The fifth launch is scheduled for 2026, followed by the sixth in 2027. But Korea's ambitions go further.
For the seventh Nuri launch, we are preparing next year's budget, though not yet been finalized. Starting from the eighth launch, we plan to carry out at least one Nuri launch every year.
Still, challenges including securing consistent governmental funding and preparing for more advanced missions such as landing on the moon remain. President Lee has pledged support for the space industry, aiming to elevate South Korea into the world's top 5 space powers. With that and more ambitious plans ahead, expectations continue to grow for South Korea's progress toward becoming a true space powerhouse.
Well, Kun-woo, it must have been an unforgettable moment to watch this launch on site, up close, because it was even overwhelming for me, and I was just, glued to the TV screen. But you did mention that there are still some challenges in this space project, so could you tell us more about that?
Right, so despite the successful launch of the fourth Nuri rocket, one notable point is that the intervals between the launches have actually been getting longer each time. So if you take a look at the screen, the gap between the first and second launches was just 8 months. But the third launch came nearly a year later, and then the most recent fourth launch took around 2.5 years to prepare. That's in contrast to SpaceX, which has launched 100 vehicles just this year. Frequent launches are essential to prevent the loss of components, technology, and even know-how. And one expert I spoke to highlighted the need for Korea to increase the frequency of its launches.
To keep Nuri's technology and Korea's space industry ecosystem thriving, at least one launch per year is essential. Shorter gaps between launches are possible if more satellites are ready. With high demand from the military, collaboration is key to making the most of Nuri. At the same time, private sector satellites can help create steady demand.
He also stressed that governmental backing will be crucial for future launches, highlighting the importance of making this support, systematic.
I've been keeping a close eye on this as well, and I hear that Korea's next step is to send rockets for a lunar landing.
Right, to the moon now.
To the moon.
So the Korea Aerospace Administration aims to achieve this by the year 2032. Korea already sent an orbiter called Nuri 3 years ago, which will continue its mission until 2027. A lunar lander 3 times heavier than Nuri requires additional fuel to overcome the moon's gravity and for a soft landing. The lunar exploration program is being overseen overseen by the Korea Aerospace Administration, while the lunar lander development is handled by the Korea Aerospace Research Institute. And finally, the rocket development is led by Hanwha Aerospace, each taking on their respective roles. And if this is successful, South Korea would become the 6th country in the world to achieve a lunar landing. So let us keep our fingers crossed.
Let's do that. And something tells me it won't feel too long before we see all that actually happening. And maybe one day we will be able to land on the moon too.
Doing a live broadcast
On the moon. Yes, good idea. Okay, Kun-woo, thank you for that wonderful coverage and see you next time.
Thank you, Kun-woo.
See you.